please tell me why in horror movies sometimes it's so common for the characters and the monster is like crawling to them. They're just like literally just standing there with the biggest, stupidest look in their mouth. Like, I promise you, it's the stupidest thing. Okay, look, I understand shock. You know, it's shocking for something to be crawling at the floor that's like not a creature that you've ever seen before in your life. But after it tries to kill one of you, or two of you, or maybe three of you, maybe you realize that you shouldn't just keep looking at it. Instead, just hit it with at least if you hit it with a pan, it would be more realistic than people who like with the stupidest faces. Like, I swear, like, they're just like, they're crying. But Evil Dead Rise came out this weekend, and it basically is part of the Evil Dead franchise, where it's a big horror comedy franchise that kind of just does ridiculousness. It's ridiculous graphics, ridiculous gore, funny moments, but also kind of keeps the horror element. It's a very strong franchise, and there's not really a bad movie in the franchise, even though Evil Dead 1 and 2 are probably much better than the others. We have the most recent edition of Evil Dead Rise. So Evil Dead Rise kind of is just like its own little thing. It's kind of not related to, doesn't have the same main character as like Evil Dead 1, 2, 3. It's kind of its own thing. So it's maybe like a spin-off, but not really a spin-off because it's the same. It's just a different family with the same story. So it's this Book of Dead, and they find it and it releases this thing. So Evil Dead kind of just the spirit that kind of takes control because it comes out of a book that has been found. So you kind of have to like will it into existence. Now, if you know anything about Evil Dead, this isn't really a spoiler. So Evil Dead kind of is just a spirit that gets willed into existence and kind of takes control of someone. And this time, as every single trailer makes sure you know, it's the mother of a family. As the spirit is taking control of the mother, the rest of the family kind of has to figure out how to survive, how to escape, maybe how to bring her back. So the problem with Evil Dead is, one, I told you, I hate how they have the characters acting like stupid. Like if they're not sure what's happening in front of them. And I understand, like I said, that might happen for the first time, the second time, the third attack, the fourth attack. But how many attacks does it take for someone to snap out of it? I'm not gonna lie. Unless they're like in complete shock. By that point, they would just die. So I don't feel like it's realistic. I know saying it's not realistic is stupid for a movie that it's not realistic, but it's not realistic behavior at all. It's like they're trying to put too much that it's an enclosed space. Obviously, Evil Dead is always about like in an enclosed space where historically it's kind of just like they can't get out and they have to just face the evil because they just can't escape. So they kind of set it up with this one in Evil Dead Rise in a more modern way, which is just really good. I'm not gonna lie, it was very strong. But they keep pushing it, trying to make sure you know, and it's like, audience aren't stupid. They can get context clues. Like, just do it a couple times and we'll figure it out. Honestly, I have to say something about the characters specifically because none of them really were inspiring. None of them are bad per se. Except there's one scene with a little girl, and if you've seen the trailers, like, it's, you know which scene it is, so I'm not gonna say it if you haven't seen the trailers. And it's just like, really? I remember in the theater, one girl was just like, really? You really gonna do that? And it's like, I know it's a little girl, but come on. Like, they're a little bit smarter than that. Like, I just don't know. It's hard because I know kids aren't really the brightest in certain things, but like, it kind of feels like a stupid scene. Like, they're just like, oh, it's a dumb kid doing a dumb thing. But no, it wasn't like other movies where like the monster like appears like good again and it's just like a trick. The trick is the stupidest thing ever. But that's all I'm gonna say about that. We're gonna go more deep into it. And honestly, they tried to aim for more of a horror aspect instead of comedy. It was still funny, don't get me wrong, but they were kind of trying to make it scarier, which I don't know how much I agree with it. It's not that they did bad with it, it's just that Evil Dead is supposed to be very funny. Like, it's supposed to be a bit scary too. So they kind of flipped it on this film and trying to make it more scary and less funny. And it's just like, you're losing your niche. Like, you built a very strong brand over this horror comedy movie that is actually scary throughout these franchise. So by kind of just shifting to a basic horror movie, you're kind of losing the power, and that's why it falls in rating in comparison to the other ones. But honestly, it is really well executed. The trailer doesn't do it justice. I think they made a second trailer that actually is a little bit better than the first one, so that one does a little more justice. But honestly, there's a lot of scenes that I was just seeing in previews, like advertisements. It's like, this is isn't scary. But then when you actually see the movie, ooh, it's actually a little bit stronger. But they definitely kept a lot of the iconic feel. I do feel like the beginning was a bit stupid. That's all I'm gonna say. It was supposed to be shocking. It didn't really hit. It missed. I'm not gonna lie. The rest of the movie though, pretty good. 7.5 out of 10 is what I'm gonna give it. Now, you want to see more of how Evil Dead franchises took over horror comedy and became such a behemoth in the space. And you gotta check out my video on Evil Dead, the Evil Dead franchise up here. And let me know in the comments what you think about Evil Dead Rise. If you think that it was going in a good direction, if it needed to be funnier, or if you thought it was hilarious, honestly. I know there were some funny parts, but just leave it in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.